What's going on, guys? El Tiburon here, aka Retro Tiburon, with another pickups video. On today's video, we're gonna have toys, bootleg lucha libre figures, bootleg WWF figures, DVDs, Blu-rays, and some mostly retro video games. I guess we're gonna start first with the DVDs. Bought these at my local flea market. First, I've got My Bloody Valentine and April Fool's Day. Double feature here. I've actually never seen these movies. That's kind of like a thing I always say. I haven't seen a lot of movies, so kind of happy to have these. I know these are considered like classics, right? And I think they were kind of like a result of movies like Halloween and Friday the 13th. Horror movies in the 80s started, copying the kind of like the holiday themed slasher. So there was, a Valentine's Day movie, and there was an April Fool's Day. Was there ever a Mother's Day? I think there was a Mother's Day one too. But yeah, happy to have this, to check them out. Next pickup I have is Hell Night. Hell Night? Sorry, there's a bad glare, but Hell Night. This actually has Linda Blair. I've never heard of this movie, but it's got Linda Blair, an older Linda Blair, so looks cheesy, looks right up my alley, so I'll have to check that one out. Next pickup, Bordello of Blood, another double feature, Bordello of Blood and Demon Knight. I have seen Demon Knight, with a really cool movie with Billy Zane, and who's the girl in there? Is it Jada Pinkett? Jada Pinkett Smith, I think.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
My bad, Will. I didn't say anything bad, alright? I didn't say anything bad this time. Yeah, but I think it has Jada Pinkett. Yeah, it does have Jada Pinkett. Bordello of Blood. Funny enough, I was gonna see it back in the day when it came out in theaters. I remember going to go watch it at the Beverly Center. I think I was gonna go see it with my sister, I think, or maybe a friend. And when we went inside the movie, one of the staff members walked in front of all of us and was like, "Sorry guys, the projector's not working. We're gonna refund you guys your money. You guys can get a ticket to another movie." So I never got to see Bordello of Blood. So this is one of those movies I've always wanted to watch, because I remember like looking forward to watching it in the theaters, because I was a big Tales from the Crypt fan, but I never got to see it. It's got, who does that? Dennis Miller and Erica Eleniak. I don't know if I said that correctly, but yeah, looking forward to checking that one out. Next pickup, these are all from the flea market. I think I got these for like 25 cents from a vendor, so even happier to get them for that price. Next pickup is a horror compilation collection. Typically you would find these like at the Dollar Tree or maybe at your FYE for, pretty cheap. But the reason I got this one is shout out to my buddy PWM, the Physical Media Mac. He's always hyping up these bloody murder movies you see up there. He's always saying they're actually pretty good Friday the 13th ripoffs. So I'm kind of looking forward to checking those out. I was happy to find this one, so yeah, have to give those a look. Next pickup is Batman The Killing Joke on Blu-ray. Got this for $4. Price is on there. I believe that, is this the one where like I think the Joker kills Robin, I think? I'm not sure, but I've heard good things about this story. I think that's the story, right? Where you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think that's the story, and I've always wanted to watch that movie, that story, so happy to have this on Blu-ray. Should I go to? Let's go to games first. Some games. Mario Bros. And this is, you know, not the typical platformer Mario Brothers. This is, I think like a 1v1 where you're just battling. Is it Mario versus Luigi? Is the second player Luigi? But you're kind of just battling on one stage pretty much. I remember playing the hell out of this. Not actually on the Nintendo, but on the Super Nintendo. I think it was on that compilation, like that Super Mario All-Stars, I believe. I just remember playing the hell out of that. So happy to have this one. Next pickup, I got Magic Johnson's Fast Break on the Nintendo. I'm a big Laker fan, big NBA fan, and you know, Magic Johnson definitely. I think him and Kobe are my favorite Lakers. I don't think this game is gonna be very good, but I was like, man, as a Laker fan, I gotta own this. I gotta own Magic Johnson's Fast Break. And I just noticed on his jersey, it doesn't even say Lakers. I don't know if you can see it. It just says Magic. I didn't even realize that. I guess they couldn't get the license to the Lakers logo. Let's see, next pickup. I got Resistance 3. I've been collecting PS3 games like that I might be into, like shooters or horror video games or wrestling video games, because I never owned a PS3 back when it was still around. So I'm kind of now getting to, you know, kind of like buy the games for cheaper than what they were before, but you know, some games are going up there in price. So but I think I got this one for like $1, a couple bucks. So been collecting these Resistance ones. I hear they're like pretty fun shooters, so happy to add that one to the collection. Next pickup, NHL Hits 2000. What is this? 2003? 2002. Man, I don't know if this is the game that I used to play on the OG Xbox, but one of these NHL's Hits games, I think it was this one, because the cover looks very familiar. I used to play the hell out of this with my friends. I remember you could be like, I think it was like a 3v3, and you can actually make your character like an animal or like a clown or something. For me, I remember my character, funny enough, was a shark. So I would have like a shark as my hockey player, and playing this with my buddies, going through the season mode, man, super fun. And a kind of underrated thing about the OG Xbox was that you could rip music CDs onto the hard drive of your Xbox, and then you could have the music play in the background of a lot of your video games. I don't know if you could do it to all of your video games, but I remember doing it to this one, like putting it in the menu screen. So I would have like, I was really into like Weezer back then, or the Strokes or something, and you could have it like in the menus. Like it was kind of like, it kind of seemed like your music was implemented into the actual game. So really cool, really fun game. I'm pretty sure it's this one because the cover looks very familiar. I'm not a hockey fan, so I don't even know who the hell this is. But yeah, glad to have this again. Next pickup, Legends of Wrestling. Man, this glare is horrible. Legends of Wrestling on the Xbox. Not gonna lie, these Legends of Wrestling games, I think there's a 1 and a 2. These games were freaking horrible. Pretty trash. But, you know, if you've been watching this channel or you know me in real life, you know I love wrestling. And I love Hulk Hogan. And this has Hulk Hogan on the cover, so I gotta have it. Who else is in here? We got Bret Hart, RVD, Jimmy Snuka, Terry Funk, the Road Warriors, Jimmy Hart. Yeah, I think I only ever owned this one back in the day. And dude, it like sucks. Like just the mechanics, the gameplay. Yeah, like really, I think it's like time, kind of like time based. Like you have to hit a certain button at a certain time to do like a move. Yeah, it was not very good, but it's a wrestling game, so I gotta own it. Next pickup, this was actually a recommendation Shadows of the Damned. Recommendation by store owner Ernesto. He owns, if you're out in the LA area, he owns Desert Island Games in East LA area. And I like going to his shop because he's like a super cool dude, super nice guy, and sometimes he'll hook me up with deals. And you know, I don't live close to East LA anymore, so I don't get to frequent the shop anymore. But I went recently, and you know, just look, he has a bunch of games. Looking through his games, and I was like, do you have any recommendations? Anything like horror or like wrestling, or you know, just anything like you would recommend? And you recommended this one. He said this is a really good, fun shooter, like almost like a horror themed shooter. So, yeah, I know nothing about this, but look at the cover. Look at that dude's gun. Looks pretty cool to me. Check out the back. And it looks cool. Hopefully it plays well. So happy to have this. Next pickup, actually a Vita game. Another World. I always call this Out of This World, but I think it's called Another World or Out of This World. I think it goes by both titles. But yeah, I'm a Vita fan, and this is probably one of my favorite games of the 90s. Out of This World, aka Another World. Super cool game. I remember when back in the 90s, I think my buddy rented this game for the Genesis. And you know nowadays we have YouTube streaming and Twitch streaming, and you can watch people play video games. But back in the day, people would do that too. I remember sitting down and watching my friend play this game and being like super into it, and like I was almost having as much fun as him just watching him play the game. So, you know, a lot of nostalgia for me. I wound up beating this game a few years ago on the Xbox. When they did this is the 20th anniversary edition. They did the 20th anniversary and they released it on all the consoles, all the modern consoles at that time. But super cool game. I own it on the Genesis, but I saw it on the Vita at what's the name of the store? Game Realms in Burbank for a reasonable price. I'm like, dude, I love this game. One of my favorite games. I might as well own it on the Vita too, because I'm a Vita fan too. So happy to have that. Next pickup, Super WrestleMania on the Sega Genesis. Man, my least favorite game from the Sega Genesis wrestling games. Probably from the I was gonna say probably from the 16-bit wrestling games, but this is as bad as this one is. I don't think it's as bad as that WCW Super Brawl game. That one was pretty bad. But yeah, not a great game. I think this was kind of like the blueprint to like later on we got Royal Rumble and Raw is War. This was kind of like the first step, and really sluggish, really slow, not great. But again, it's got the Hulkster under. We got the Macho Man, the Warrior, DiBiase, Papa Shango, and this is kind of like when I first became a wrestling fan around this time. So, still gotta own it. I didn't know this, but my buddy Tyler told me that he had the one on the Super Nintendo, I believe, and that one doesn't have finishers for the wrestlers. I didn't even know that, but I remember this one actually does have the finishers. It actually lists the finishers on the back right here. So it shows, Hogan's leg drop, Papa Shango's shoulder breaker, Macho Man's flying elbow, Bulldog's power slam, IRS right off, $1 Million Dream. The one that's like not accurate is the Shawn Michaels. It says side suplex, which he would do the side suplex, but it was more of a back suplex. This one's he's just doing a regular. And this glare's killing me. He's just doing like a regular suplex. That was not his finisher. And a funny thing I remember about this one too was Warrior's finisher. He does like this little jog where it looks like he's doing like some kind of Native American tribal dance, or he really has to pee his pants and he's like running in place and he does like a flying clothesline. But yeah, I mean, happy to have it. It's got the Hulkster. Next pickup, Zero Tolerance on the Sega Genesis. This is probably no manual, just the game. Probably the first ever first-person shooter I ever played. Ever. Like, I don't remember playing Doom growing up. But I remember playing this one. It's a first-person shooter for the 16-bit console for the Sega Genesis. And I used to like how kind of gritty and creepy it was. It was also like gory. It was very dark. And I don't think I ever got very far in the game, but it's a nostalgia, man. I was like, I gotta have this one in the case. I'm kind of trying to collect a lot of my Sega Genesis games, at least in the case, and then, you know, try to get them CIB, but the manual's not like, you know, super high priority for me. If I can find the manual, that's fine. If not, whatever. But I at least want to have my Sega Genesis games in the case. So one to check out if you've never played this one, Zero Tolerance. Pretty fun game. All right, let's see. All right, we're gonna go to some other, now the toy pickups, but first, my buddy Lydia actually bought me this candle. Don't Sleep Nightmare on Elm Street themed candle. Check this out. And it's got like Freddy's glove right there. And it actually smells really good. It smells like coffee, which is pretty cool because, you know, Don't Sleep Nightmare on Elm Street. And it smells like coffee. Always reminds me of that scene. I think is it Dream Warriors? Where like Patricia Arquette's character, I think, like shoves like a handful of instant coffee into her mouth and downs it with some Coke. So yeah, happy to have that. Thanks, Lydia. Another pickup. Speaking of Lakers, got this big head. What's this dude's name again? What's his name again?
LeBron James.
Yeah, thanks, dude. Yeah, that's his name, LeBron James. Yeah, I got this at the swap meet for $10. I think his head is almost as big as mine. I just thought he looked cool, and I'm a Laker fan, so probably put this in like my office for work, or in the gym. In my gym, I kind of have like Laker stuff there, so maybe he'll go there or in the office. Yeah, happy to have that. He's heavy as hell too. Some wrestling figures I picked up at the swap meet too, at the flea market. We got Flying Brian from his WCW days, so happy to have this one. I think I got him for like three or $4. Flying Brian. I don't think this is Hollywood Blonde's Flying Brian, because he still has like those Bengal tights. But I could be wrong. Maybe he was already in the Hollywood Blondes. Next figure I picked up, Mr. Perfect, man. One of the greatest to ever step into the ring, Mr. Perfect. And for those wrestling fans, old school wrestling fans, you all remember this gear. This is the gear he wore when he teamed up with the Macho Man. When he teamed up with the Macho Man to face off against Ric Flair and Razor Ramon, 92 Survivor Series, I believe. So yeah, really cool to have this. Got this for like $3 or $4. I already had the little towel, so you know, you gotta have him with the towel. You gotta have Mr. Perfect with the towel. Yeah. All right, that's him. Next wrestling pickup, wrestling toy. This is also from the flea market, from the swap meet. Hulk Hogan. Check this one out, man. This is, yeah, like I got this one, I think $10 also at the flea market. And if I'm not mistaken, this is this is a bootleg. This is not an officially licensed WWF or WWE figure. Could be mistaken. If I'm wrong, you can let me know in the comments, but pretty sure these were bootlegs from like the early 90s, late 80s. Because I remember seeing this toy like in, it was like I think a blue box, but it didn't really have like the WWF branding on it. But still really cool for a bootleg. as soon as I saw this on a table, I was like, oh shit, that's that bootleg Hulk Hogan. And I thought the guy was gonna tell me, like, oh, $50 or something like that, because now at flea markets and swap meets, people have cell phones, so they just like look up stuff and they'll charge you whatever the highest price is on eBay, even though that's not how it works. It doesn't matter what people list it for; it's what it sells for. But $10, I was like, I'm taking him. So he's gonna go in my little Hulkamania shrine with my other Hulk Hogan figures. But really happy to have this. And just FYI for those toy collectors out there, these figures were pretty, like, including LeBron James, they were pretty, like, grimy. Like, pretty grimy. I mean, I got them from the flea market, so they were pretty grimy. I found out from the Major Wrestling Figure podcast that if you put your figures in the dishwasher, they'll come out clean as a whistle. And I gotta admit, they did come out. I was a little worried. I was like, man, it's gonna mess up the paint or something. But they came out super, like, clean. I put them in the dishwasher. And my wife didn't get pissed off at me either, so that's another good thing. But left them, like, super clean. So just a tip for those toy collectors out there. If you have any loose figures that are grimy. My last pickups. These were actual gifts, not pickups. My wife bought me a couple luchadors, and just like the Hogan one, I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg. So this guy right here, his name is not the Magnificent. This guy, I'm pretty sure, is El Rayo de Jalisco. So he was I don't know when he stopped wrestling, but I remember him from the 90s. He was like a big luchador in the 90s. He's one that I don't think he ever went to WCW. At least I don't remember seeing him there. But he kind of had like a cool entrance attire, because he would come out as a mariachi with the big mariachi hat and like the mariachi jacket. I don't remember much of him as a wrestler, but Rayo de Jalisco, which I think translates to, what does that translate to? Like the laser of Jalisco, or the lightning bolts of Jalisco? I'm not sure what it translates to, but really cool. I didn't even know these figures existed. But yeah, my wife got these for me from a cool, like, collectible store that we buy from in Echo Park in Los Angeles. INS Collectibles. But look, you got other wrestlers. I believe this is supposed to be Rey Mysterio. I know this guy, the guy, I think this guy's El Felino, the feline. Those are Rayo de Jalisco up there. This one would be cool to own. Octagon. And then I think that's Mil Máscaras. Mil Máscaras, yeah, that's Mil Máscaras. And then the guy right here, my wife actually got him for me too. This dude right here is Atlantis, another kind of like legend. He was like already a legend in the 90s. He was there like when El Perro Aguayo was there, La Parca. Who else was there? Like Cien Caras, guys like that. And this was this was kind of like, I guess you would, in American wrestling comparison, maybe he would have been like the Ric Flair or the Macho Man from the Lucha Libre. But yeah, really cool to own these. I never knew these were a thing, these bootleg Lucha Libre wrestlers. Wait a minute, this guy's name is also the Magnificent. Was this guy's name the Magnificent too? Are they all named the Magnificent? They all don't have names. That's why I think they're bootlegs, because they don't have a name. They probably don't want to get sued. But yeah, really happy to have these. Really cool. I love, wrestling, but I'm Mexican, so I also I just love the heritage of like the Lucha Libre wrestlers. Even though I didn't watch a whole lot of Lucha Libre, to be honest. Sometimes I would catch it on TV when I was young. But my introduction to Lucha Libre was honestly WCW Nitro. But still cool to have these. But yeah, That's it, guys. That's all I got. Until next time, thanks for checking out the video. See ya.